Before we start the video, I want you to go to the blah blah below, that's the comments, and let me know what do you do when you plan a session or content for one area and your players go a completely different way. This is a small channel, I don't get many comments, so if you comment below I'm going to see it, heart it, and very likely respond, so please, let's get a conversation going. A motorcade for Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria is traveling through the town of Bosnia when an assassin throws a bomb at his vehicle. The bomb bounces off the top of the vehicle and fails to kill him. Multiple people are injured, but the assassin escapes amidst the chaos. When the Archduke arrives at the town hall, he tells the mayor, "Mr. Mayor, I came here on a visit and I'm greeted with bombs. It is outrageous." After a reception and speech, the Archduke decides to change his return route to avoid the crowd. Understandable. But nobody informed the driver of the Archduke about the change of plans. So, as they're driving, the driver begins making the wrong turn, but is corrected. He brakes, the engine stalls. In his final moments, the Archduke realizes, to his dismay, that the car happened to stop only a few feet away from his assassin, who took the chance to pull out his pistol and finish the job. This assassination set into motion a chain reaction of diplomatic and military events, which eventually culminated in World War I. But in retrospect, historians now believe that even though that was the spark for the war, it wasn't necessarily the cause. You see, the situation in Europe was so unstable that it was only a matter of time before something sets it off and war begins. The Balkans were a powder keg, and all it took was just an errant spark. Welcome back, everybody. This is GDS. This is hopefully a quick video about putting powder kegs in your world and making sure that your world is always on the cusp of imminent chaos, and why you would want to do that. Matt Colville has a great video, which is going to be in the nonsense below, which basically describes how the factions in your world should be in conflict, unless there is some outstanding fact that makes it sensible for them to be at peace. In other words, Matt Colville says that war is not an exception for peace, but instead peace is an exception for war. People usually think about the world, and especially of fiction, as having a steady state, and then there is a spark or something that sets off the adventure, the inciting incident. But in his video, Matt Colville discovers that this is not necessarily very realistic. I think my powder keg solution allows you to have your cake and eat it too. It allows you to have a steady state, but also maintain that verisimilitude. The reason is that the world is at a steady state, but not in a stable way, i.e. everywhere in the world is on the cusp of failure, chaos, opportunity, and therefore adventure. And that's exactly what we want in each location when we drop off our heroes there. The only thing I disagree on with Matt Colville is that he applies this specifically, and it seems only to politics in your world. Whereas I think that the steady state powder keg can be applied to everything. Like I said, it's the potential of chaos, consternation, and therefore adventure. If you seed your world with powder kegs, you'll be ready to set off an adventure when the players go there. So in my older videos, especially this one right here, I mentioned the notion of leaving space in your world. As you build out your world, you don't have to know every single detail. It's in fact good to leave some things open for either you when you're inspired or for your players to fill in. The idea of using powder kegs is to still leave that space open, but have enough there so you can fill it in easily in the future. So those are some advantages of using powder kegs, and the problem that it solves is that as you make your world, you don't necessarily know exactly where your players are going to go. You could spend an eternity planning a session 1 for each location, or as your campaign goes on, planning potential sessions for each location. But this would take a very long time, and instead you could just seed your world with powder kegs. In every area of your world that you care about, you just write maybe even a paragraph or just a line about a looming or potential threat, tension, or conflict. As soon as your players get to that area, if you want to draw them to that area, all you need is just that little spark to set it off, which makes it sensible for why it hasn't been set off until now when the players are actually there. So I've been talking a lot about powder kegs and stuff. Let's actually go through an example. Say we have a pretty standard D&D type world. For each primary location, I'm going to come up with a powder keg that's going to be ready to trigger when we, the GM, want it to, or when players arrive at that location or start interacting with it. The key for powder keg design is to set up an unresolved tension. The description of the powder keg must end with, at any moment, blank, will our heroes blank before blank or will blank. This is very similar to the dramatic structure that I discussed in my video, either here or here, but the main idea is that you want the 3 elements of drama. Objective, what do the heroes need to do? Stakes, what happens if they succeed? What happens if they fail? And urgency, why do they need to do it right now? Where is the ticking time bomb? And you want to make sure that that potential drama, these 3 elements, can happen at any moment. That's why it's not only enough to have the at any moment something can happen, it's important to tie that to a dramatic structure. So let's go through a few hypothetical locations in this D&D world and set up powder kegs for them. I'm going to read off my notes of examples here. The first one is going to be a fertile valley, where is the main town, and that's where the players mainly operate. We're going to say that for this town, the king is old, and the line of succession is contested. At any moment, the king could die, leading to a succession crisis and very likely war. Will our heroes prevent war from sweeping the country before opportunists raise armies and choose sides? Or will the kingdom fall to a period of chaos and war? You can see how in this example, this is a thing that could spark at any time. As the GMs, we have control over when the king dies, whether it is now or later or never. It is a looming tension that can be sparked at any moment. I think you get it by now. Let's go through the next example. Say to the north, there is parts of the valley where people don't really frequent anymore, that has ruins and stuff like that. And say even further north, there are some mountains with dwarves. Let's say that the dwarves to the north live in strongholds dug into the mountains. And these organizations are efficient but precarious because they require the precise management of light, food, transportation, and oxygen. At any moment, a problem or malfunction with one of these systems can snowball out of proportions, causing a climate or refugee crisis. Will our heroes bring order to the area and solve the problem before confusion and opportunists gain any momentum? Or will innocents suffer as the country is swept with climate and refugee crises? Let's say to the east, we have some vast plains and rivers that end in a sea. We can say that the vast plains and river are homes to hundreds of scattered goblin tribes. At any moment, a tribe could start gaining power and momentum, consolidating other tribes under its banner before turning its gaze to the west. Will our heroes stop the goblin threat before enough tribes are consolidated and the goblin army mounts an organized assault on the human kingdoms? Or will human civilization be sacked by the goblins? I got one more example, the other direction, the south. To the south, let's say there's a dark forest, classic fantasy, leading to a swamp and a lake. Say that there are some ruins of past civilization that are scattered across the floors and waters of the swamp. At any moment, an ancient evil can awaken, or maybe be awakened on accident or on purpose, putting the entire area in danger. Will the heroes contain or destroy this ancient evil before it gathers too much power and too many followers? Or will the area fall to the hands of an ancient evil? These are my examples for powder kegs. I hope you find this video useful. And if you did and you're watching this far, then I'm guessing you did, please smash the like button. If you have a smartphone, you can use whatever it is because it's mobile. You can use the corner of a desk or maybe a concrete brick. If it's your monitor, like it is for me, you can just smash it with your fist or whatever works. And if you're subscribed, welcome back. If you're not, and you like this kind of video, make sure to subscribe. Hit that button also an odd number of times. Let's go for 3. I hear there's a bell that gives you a notification whenever I upload a video. And this is no secret, we have a Discord channel, which you can check out down in the nonsense below. That's the description. We have a small community. We like to talk about everything I talk about in this channel. So come join. That's pretty much it. I'll see you later.